relationships are
So
complicated.
Yes. And when we try to pretend that they're not, they get even more complicated. Or if we don't trust talking to somebody about it, it becomes so much worse because then we're feeling guilty and shame and confusion all while we're experiencing just the chaos in general.
What is going on, L&M family? Glad you're back because I got some energy. So be ready for some contagious, positive, and some like heartfelt type energy. Our guest today is a mental health hype woman, which I love because y'all know, well, if you've listened to any of the shows before, you know, mental health is a thing that's important to me because I've struggled with it and suffered through some real personal things with addiction, etc. And so anybody that is an advocate for mental health, you know, they're on my team. The interesting thing is we were connected before we were connected through an anthology. And so maybe we'll talk a little bit about this anthology thing, which is super cool. Her name is Jackie Hallberg in Michigan, coming down from like the cold states right now. She is a consultant on all things crime, conflict, victimization, family reunification, reentry. So folks, if you can't tell by that list, she's a very empathetic person with a lot of compassion. And so we're going to do our best to tap into that and glean any of all that goodness that we possibly can. And if this is your first time here, you are listening to the Learnings and Missteps podcast, where we get to see amazing human beings just like you tell the stories of how they're sharing their gifts and talents to leave this world better than they found it. I am Jesse, your selfish servant, and we are about to get to know Miss Jackie. Miss Jackie, how are you?
I am always great when I'm around you. I love your energy. Thank you.
It's super, like, we might have a problem here. Too
Can you
much
imagine
energy.
us in person at the same time in the same location?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I can. I think we'd have a lot of fun and maybe freak some people out, but in a good way. So I like to start off with a simple question to kind of get us warmed up. So I got one. Here it is. What is a romance coach and why does it matter?
That is not going to be a simple answer, Jesse. Oh my gosh, that is like hit me with the big one. First of all, it matters because when we are not happy with ourselves, if we're trying to connect with a partner, whether we're married in a long-time relationship, we're newly dating, maybe we want to date, but nobody's interested in us. If we give that negative energy out to our partner in home or on our profiles or any of that stuff, and we don't get positive back, we get more angry and more sad and more ick. And then we take that out into the world. And then there's violence. And there's violence in the home. There's violence on dates. There's violence at the workplace. There's all this stuff. So I feel very strongly, because I work so much with crime and victimization in my day job, that coming down to the basics of really making sure humans are mammals, Jesse. We are meant to connect and to populate and to feel all the feels and do all the things, but we are not meant to be solo. We can be solo for a very long time. I mean, I don't mind being solo for a while, but we are meant to be surrounded by other humans. And if we're negative and we're angry because we're not getting any, or because we're not dating, or because our relationship sucks, we can put that out in the world.
Yep. You know, real talk, like real talk. So let's just go there. I've been accused, and I've also experienced withholding. I've been accused now. Apparently, they were right. Like a friend of mine told me, she's like, Jesse, you are really great at figuring out what people want from you, giving it to them, and then resenting them for it.
Oh, that's deep.
What do you think about that, Jackie?
Well, I think it means different levels. If you're talking about a potential partner, if you're talking about a business relationship, if you're talking giving pro bono work, all the things. And if you do have that resentment, they won. They got something from you, and they got a negative emotion from you. And then our brains and our bodies hold on to that, and we start feeling icky, and then we might not trust other people. So then our walls go up a little bit more, and we're like, I'm never dating. I'm never doing business with them. I'm never going to talk to them again. And we kind of lose because we could be shutting out somebody that is so amazing, that could be so different and so powerful for us.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And for clarity, we're talking about like friendships and romantic relationships.
Because you're so good. You wouldn't be doing what you do if you don't. But some people might not understand that, because I know some great people that have went through some like relationship changes, that it changes who they are in the workforce. They bring it to work. A lot of people don't show up to work, not just because they're sick, but because something crappy is going on inside the house, whether it's their kids, their partner, whether it's their emotional response to what the fight that happened last night, or if there is violence, or if there's threats of I'm going to leave you or something like that. There's no way it can't come into the workforce at times. And the more we're aware of it and the more we're willing to go there, the easier it is for our staff, our colleagues, our business associates to feel like, Jesse, I can wait. Jackie, I need a break on this. You know, there's some stuff going down. Can we reschedule? Can I have a little bit more grace this time? And when we think about what makes us truly happy, every one of us is a little different, but we're so biologically the same. I don't care how age difference. I don't care the gender. I don't care the race, the religious beliefs, any of the things. Biologically, we as humans want to be wanted. We want those responses, like your person that attended your session wrote that great thing. We want to get the likes on our social media page. We want people to say, oh my gosh, I never knew that until you shared that. We want that. But we also want somebody to say, Jesse, I want to spend time with you. Jesse, I want to learn from you. I want to be in your circle because you just light me up. You make me feel good. That's what humans want. And when we say, I don't need anybody, I can do it by myself, I'm done with relationships, we're literally lying to ourselves.
So what are your thoughts on this statement? We're here to work. Leave your personal crap at home.
Can I swear on here? Oh, I didn't. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I mean, we are not, again, we are a mammal. We cannot just compartmentalize all day long. We can play it for a while. We can definitely play it for a while. But this beautiful thing up here that not one of us ever taps into enough is going to come out at a certain time. And it's going to say, oh my gosh, I thought I could handle my stuff together. I didn't think I'd have to take time off. I didn't think I'd have to come get help. I didn't think I was getting cranky to that person, but your home life is going to affect you. Your personal mindset, your personal happiness, whether it's a confidence level or whether it's a self-esteem level, whether it's internal hate that you have for yourself because of something you did in the past. If you can't grow through that, you're going to bring all the negative to work or to a conference, to a training, to a business proposal, but you're also going to bring the good stuff. If things are rocking at home and you have very little stress, they love you, they're cheering you on, they want to come to your conference, they're telling people to sign up for you, they're showing off your book you wrote, you know they're in your corner. You are going to just be elevated because that positive energy is going to trickle out, and we want that to come into the workforce. So don't be leaving that good juju home.
and I love that. That's actually, I've never heard anybody talk about it from that perspective, because we want you to bring all your great stuff, the great energy from home. We just don't want the stinky human stuff from home. And I also like that you pointed out that we can do that, but it's not a sustainable approach, right? Like there are times where we got to, and I'm this way. It's time, it's focus time. And what does that mean? That means I'm ignoring everything and everybody else. And that feels good. Like I love those times, but it's not sustainable. Like after a period of time, it starts getting dark. It starts getting cloudy. It starts getting, less than amazing. And then on the other side of it, I'll say it this way. I used to be an abuser of that language of leave your personal crap at home. We're here to work. What I've learned is trying to live that way took so much damn energy. It was exhausting. And when I finally decided to just be the same human I am all the time, like you said, I was able to bring a different level of connection, a different level, like a richer level of connection and energy, because I wasn't separating the thing. And if I had a funky day and I had 2 or 3 nights of like bad sleep without my CPAP machine, I let people know. Or the guys, I remember I was marathon training for years and years, and my guys knew when I didn't run. And I didn't know this, right? It was kind of like a running, like, oh, Jesse didn't run. And I'm like, whatever. Yeah, I did. And then finally they were like 100%. Every time I skipped the run, they would call it out. I'm like, how do you know? And they're like, because you're a pain in the ass when you don't run. I'm like, oh, it was my
Yeah.
therapy. Right. And so they could pick on that
Yes.
energy. Anyways, main point, L&M family out there. If you're still playing the I'm this person at work and this person at home, it's a little easier. No, it's a lot easier if you just be
Yeah.
a human being. Now, Jackie, you've mentioned a few times about bringing it to the
Mhm.
workplace. What I'm hearing or taking from that is that there is business value for leaders and decision makers to engage, support, and accept the whole person. Am I hearing that
Yes.
right?
Yes, because we are not robots. Even though we're in the land of AI these days, we are not computers. We are not robots. Like you said, we can sustain for a little while and pretend everything's roses and butterflies. Now, I'm not saying free pass go bitch to every single coworker and don't do your job, because you've had a bad day at home or because your partner is blah, blah, blah. It means acknowledging it. Sometimes I'll tell a staff in the morning or something, I've got to focus. I was up all night thinking about this. If I can't get this out right now, I'm going to be distracted. I can't even say hi. We'll talk later. That's okay. They don't need to know all my business. Oh, I didn't sleep because of this or because I ate this, or you don't need to go into dinner, but just today is a rock star day. I've got a couple hours that we can brainstorm. If anybody wants to come in, that's great. Or it can be today is high impact day and I need to really focus. So the door's going to be closed. It's not that I don't care about what's going on in your life. Let's circle back after lunch or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So guarding your time, what I'm hearing here is
Yeah.
boundaries and awareness of where your energy is and how to guard it so that you can elevate performance through the
Absolutely.
funkiness. That's like
Yeah. Well,
gangsta
and each
level.
one of us have different personalities. And one thing that I notice is people that do live alone or they don't have a big social network, they're not on social media, they're not dating, they're not in a relationship, they need to talk when they come to the office. And I don't know if you do that in some of your
Mm,
workshops, your construction
oh,
sites, but in an office, you become almost like family because you're kind of stuck together for
yeah.
sometimes 6 to 10 hours a day. And the ones that don't always have people to vent to talk to, again, we want to be wanted. We want somebody to say, Jackie, did you have a great day today? Jackie, is there anything I could do for you? We want that. And if we don't get it outside of the office, it's coming right in and it could suck out 45 minutes of productivity.
Oh,
Mhm.
100%. Oh, I've seen that so many. I'm going to do the L&M family member shout out. And this one goes to Ms. Jillian Bryant, who recently sat through some training with me, the communication capabilities training, full day of torture. And she left this review. She says, Jesse helped me realize what I wasn't doing my best at and how I could improve in those categories. Lots of teaching points I can implement personally and professionally. And Jillian, thank you, sister, for leaving such a thoughtful comment. And I love that the stuff we went over touches you personally and professionally, because that's the whole point. We're one freaking human being. And my goal is to make life better for you on and off the clock. Like that's the deal. And folks, the rest of the family members out there, I love attention. I love to know that you're out there. So anytime you take a chance to leave a comment, leave a review, do a share, do a like, all the things, any of the things, one or none, it makes me feel good. But more importantly, it gives me an excuse to shout you out in the future. Time. So you got a lot of really deep insight
It's
about
'cause I'm
this,
old,
the
Jesse.
relationship. Well, maybe a little
Been around the
bit,
block.
but attention, right? What was it that helped you decide, you know what? I am going to focus on this
Yeah.
romance thing because there is some business. Like, how did you get there? Because I would say it's a
Very,
risky
very risky.
notion.
So it's
Yeah.
also even riskier because I still am a full-time day job employee. And I have a very big presence in
Ah,
my community with the kind of work I do because I run a nonprofit. And again, I've lived in my community my entire life. So having this kind of after evening and weekend persona is a little different than saying, hey, I have a side hustle that I do the same type of work or that I do something that might be, I use
yeah.
words intimacy
'Cause you're
and
super
romance
visible.
and a few other words that I'm not going to use on your show that people don't know me. Did you almost spit out your water? I'm sorry. But a lot of people don't see that side of me in my day job. But I went to school to be a social worker thinking I was going to help little tiny kids, Jesse. I wanted kids to be happy and not be sad.
Yeah.
What I ended up getting thrown into about 3 months after I started working with little kids was saying, no, you need to work in the court system with kids that are breaking the law. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. I don't. And
Yeah.
from there, I learned because it wasn't just sadness, it was actually behavior response, people breaking the law, harming their siblings, doing stuff at school, threatening their teachers, all the things. It really showed me that relationship dynamic more so than just one-on-one therapy can really show you because you actually see the all sides of it. All the work I did for those that many years working with people involved in the court system, whether it was juveniles or adults, or going into the prison system or working with people after they get out of jail and prison, every issue tied back to some person. It was either the way their parents
Yep.
treated them, the way their boyfriend and girlfriend did, their best friend, one of their old friends smeared stuff on social media. My baby mama did this to me, my this person, all the things came back to that relationship. And I am always a relationships first person. And the world does not go around without relationships. You know that. Nobody comes to your trainings if they
Agreed.
didn't like you. They're not coming just because of the training. They come
Right.
for Jesse's training. And when you have negative relationships, if you've grown up in a household that modeled negative relationships and you think that's all you have, that's what you're going to put into the world. And it's going to eat you
Yeah.
up and you're going to start self-medicating. You're going to start doing self-harm behaviors or you're going to hurt other people. So I decided at first when I wanted a kind of a night job type of second hustle, I was trying to do fun things like helping people travel because that's my therapy. I've been to all 50 states and I did 26 all by myself because I was able to. But people weren't really buying into that. So then I was trying to be just a reentry consultant, just talking about people getting out of jail and prison and how I can help the family. Well, again, people weren't buying that too much because I can do it. You know, I got my probation officer. I know how to deal with my wife. I know how to deal with my husband, whatever, the guy I'm dating, whoever.
Yeah.
Well, when I started flipping to the romantic side of interactions with significant intimate partners, whole different ballgame. Okay. Now, people are still a little scared to talk to me because they think I'm going to start talking about things they don't want to share with a private person. But yet, the most natural thing to talk about in my generation, we grew up thinking that the only happy woman is somebody that's married and has kids. We weren't talked about what quality
Yep.
bedroom time looked like or what it meant to possibly have to deal with maybe wanting a different partner, kind of getting bored with yours or frustrated. We were just taught you need to get married, stay married, and have kids. That's your role. And once you
Yeah.
run into relationship issues, if you don't understand how to grow, how to communicate, how to maybe talk to a counselor or a coach or talk about the important things, those walls go up and the wide gets wider. And pretty soon you don't even know who you're freaking crawling into bed with at night and you're hoping they don't even touch you. And how can we function and how
Yep.
can we be productive at work and how can we learn new things and how can we emulate happiness to our kiddos when we're absolutely miserable in our relationships? You didn't know where we were going today, did you, Jesse?
No, I'm so glad. This is important because there's very few people that spend this much time in this area. You've got tons, and you really care about it because you see how it affects the whole person, professionally, personally, etc. And you're not tiptoeing around like the real, right? Like the scenario you just described of like, I'm going to bed with this person. I just hope they don't touch me. I remember feeling that. And I'm sure she felt that too.
Yep.
Right. But I remember feel like, oh, but again, what was the formula, right? Graduate, get a job, get
did we wait until it got so bad we felt that way? If we could have seen the little signs a little bit earlier and figured it out, we might have had way better differences. So because I kind of was already an adult in the social media boom when it first started, I don't know if I was lucky or not lucky, but every social media profile I've had, and I don't know if gentlemen get the same response, I get very interesting messages and I always have. Some are so inappropriate. Some are just kind of out there. Some I really think just want to be friends or be cordial. And then they dump on me about how miserable they are in their marriage, how they haven't had intimacy in forever, how they don't know how to talk to their partner. And they have literally used probably thousands of my hours for free for needs now. And I'm like, wait a minute, we need to talk about this because he needs to pay for more vacations, but I also got to pay for my lights and all that stuff. Why can't you spend money on talking to somebody with me? Now, I'm not going to force you to stay in that relationship. I'm going to help you if it works. But if it's appropriate to get out, I'm not going to say, oh my gosh, you can't get divorced. You can't leave them. But we're going to do it in a way. We're going to be as safe as possible with both you and that person's feelings and emotions, because they might not want to be touched by you, but they are scared to death of that word divorced, or they're scared to death to be alone. And so it's a very, even though I'm not scared to go there, it's a very delicate situation. And every family is unique. Every relationship is unique. Some relationships have multiple partners, and that's everybody wants that. Other people have multiple partners that the one partner doesn't know about. And so it's a different discussion.
Yeah. That's hard. That's very hard. I thinking back, two of the three darkest times in my life, I was married both times. And after ending those marriages, it was extremely difficult because, well, one, I was all up in substance abuse and self-medication and all that. But it was the way I lived through it was just a complete, utter failure on my part of being able to be a man. Like, that's how it felt for me.
It's heartbreaking.
Fast forward, 10, 15, 20 years now, I recognize, I contributed to the problem, but I wasn't the only one. Like, it wasn't just me. But I'm going to tell, those years, it was a dark time because I didn't have anybody to talk to. Like, who do you talk? You don't, I'm a dude, right? You're not supposed to talk about that stuff. And so I was numbing and suppressing all of that. Now, I know what my upbringing in my religion or my mom's religion says about it. It's not a good thing. But I know 100,000,000% for me and them, it was the best thing. Like, we needed to do it because the path that we were on may not have been violent and abusive, but we absolutely would not have grown into the individuals that we are today. And so it was almost a necessity to end those relationships. I often wonder, could we have worked through it? Looking back, my answer is always no. It's no, we could have saved the marriage, but sacrificed who we could have been. That's kind of,
my gosh,
what do you think about that?
You are 1,000% right in so many areas, Jesse. One of the things is, I know you said it wasn't for religious reasons on why you stayed or anything, but the fact that we grow up as kiddos hearing what relationships are supposed to look like, and then if ours doesn't, we don't want to tell somebody or ask for help because it does make us feel like a failure before the divorce or separation even happens. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not fulfilling what I was supposed to, or they don't like me anymore. Or, oh, I get so angry and I never thought I'd be an angry person. So that all plays into us. And when we start doing those mental games to ourselves, it's so easy to turn to substances. It's so easy to message this pretty little lady on social media that's going to be so nice to me. Oh, she shouldn't treat you like that way. And it happens. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I know. Friends are like, why are you so dumb?
Yeah. Why can't we just go to our partners? And I've screwed up a lot, Jesse. And that's one of the reasons I do this. It's not just the work that I've had with clients over the years. It is literally learned experience. If I was perfect in relationships, I would still be married, and I'm not, so it's a lot of life lessons that I've learned as well. I have not had roses and butterflies relationships ever. I've gotten played probably more times than I care to talk about. Taken advantage of, been lied to, all the things. But if I dwelled on that, I would literally probably never come out from under a rock. I would not have fun. I would not be able to enjoy my kids. I wouldn't do the kind of work I do. I wouldn't even want to probably get dressed during the day because we are our worst enemies at times. And I want you to think about it. Just because we heard those stories that you got to get married or you're a failure if you can't provide for your whatever. How many mammals mate for life, Jesse?
I think penguins count, right?
Birds are probably the biggest kind of critters that do. Like, I know eagles and I think swans, mate for life. I think elephants may, But other than that, there are very few mammal species that mate for life. Now, I am not saying go ditch your partner so you can go booty somebody else. What I'm saying is those feelings are going to surface. And if you don't have a solid foundation, if you can't talk to your partner and say, oh my gosh, it has been a while. And all of a sudden I started feeling these feelings and I'm kind of freaked out because I don't want to go outside. How can we work together? I mean, can you imagine how strong you have to be to look your partner in the face and actually say that? It's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
And so trying to figure out how to adapt to, I do want to be your only mate for life, but I need to know how to make you satisfied. Well, I'm not disregarding what I need as well. How can we work through this? Because Jesse, I don't care if you are the exact same age when you date. I don't care if you think they're the love of your life. When you're in a relationship, you're both going to grow differently. You're going to have different successes. Your
Yes.
bodies are going to change. You are going to think about other things that are important to you. What was important to you in your 20s is not always going to be in your 30s. In your 30s, it's not the same as your
Oh,
50s.
yeah.
And if you grow way faster and you want to get involved in all this stuff and have these businesses and do all this stuff, and your partner's just like, let's just sit on the couch and watch TV and wait for the grandkids to come, especially if you got ADHD like me, you're like, come on, we got to do stuff.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, I'm going to explode.
So communication and in talking about expectations and changed expectations, two of the easiest ways to fix what's broken, or it's the easiest thing to break what might have been able to stick together if you don't do it.
Right. Okay. So am I wrong in when you're doing this romance coaching, you're doing it with women, you're doing it with men, you're doing it with couples.
Yep. Whatever is appropriate. So
Okay.
a couple things I won't do. I will not work with somebody that is manipulating their partner or there's domestic violence. I will give resources if somebody was to reach out to me, but I am not going to be living where they're living because this is all virtual. I may do some pop-up events when I travel or maybe in my hometown, but right now it's all virtual. So I can't be your safety person. I am not your therapist. I do have a degree in counseling, but this is so different. You're not going to get analyzed. You're not getting therapy from me. We are talking down and dirty and figuring out what can you do differently, or how can you look at your partner differently if it's one-on-one. If it's group, you're going to have some homework and they're going to have some homework and we're going to work together. And we might do it one-on-one for one session and the next session we're both all three together or however many people. It is most men tend to reach out, but they don't always want the actual session. They want some advice. They want somebody to be nice to them and tell them that their woman is, really the problem or something like that. I implore you, whatever your gender is, whatever your age is, don't think you have to deal with it alone, and don't think you are meant to be miserable, because if you are miserable in your relationship, there is at least probably about an 80% chance your partner is miserable too. Two miserables cannot fix it on their own without some intervention.
Agreed. It's interesting. I know I have a bunch of exes, Jackie. Two of them have gone to therapy and came back and said they were pissed off at their therapist. Like, why are you pissed off at the therapist? And both of them, similar answers were because they said it wasn't you. And I'm like, yes, I win.
Yeah. Every one of us hurt, Jesse. Every one of us have our own issues before we get in that relationship. And this beautiful brain of ours, it responds at different times. So if we grew up in trauma, if we have a lot of grief in our life, we may think, oh, I got through that. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, 2 years later, boom, our brain kind of changes. And if we can't communicate, we're going to put all these walls up and we're going to complain and compare and do all the things that push our partner away, instead of have them bring them in when it's our toughest time and we need their support and we need them to understand what's going on with us.
Oh, man. Okay. So you're bringing up all kinds of
skeletons. You feeling like we're in therapy or what?
I think it's important because I've had therapists state mandated and some that I elected on my own to get. But now it's bringing up memories, right? There was one relationship I was in, amazing. And all of the women, they're freaking amazing. Had no business being with them. But one of them, we split up because I had to focus, had a really bad project. And when I focus, I'm an expert at focusing. But like I said earlier, what that means is I ignore everything else. And so I absolutely ghosted on her. And in my brain, I told her like, hey, I need to focus on this thing. So I'm not going to be as available. So in what I know what that meant. That meant it's going to be a few weeks, maybe a couple of months.
No.
Which, in my brain, that makes sense. Not, she's thinking, okay, we're going to hang out on Saturday, though, right? Yeah. And that was not, like, I was working 7 days. So anyways, after the project cleared, I knew, I'm like, oh God, I can't just not, I got to call her. It ended up being like 4 months. And I was hoping that she would pick up the phone and hang up on me. She didn't. And I'm like, oh God, this is going to be hard. And she's like, you know what? Let's meet for lunch. I'm like, oh God, this is getting harder.
Gotta face her.
Yeah, I gotta face, right? But I understood how stinky it was. And so we met for lunch. She was amazing. And she's like, Jesse, here's the thing. I like you. You're a good guy. We had a lot of fun. And she's like, but for us to continue going forward, I need you to share that pain with me. I wanted to be there to comfort you and hold you and walk with you through it. I wasn't going to solve it, but you didn't even share it. And I swear, like in that moment, my brain said, hell no, I ain't sharing it. That's mine. And I knew, I'm like, and so we talked a little bit more. She's like, so what do you think? I said, well, I got to be honest. Like, I don't want to share that with anybody. Like, I know it sounds sick, but I need that all to myself. And then it's like, well, Jesse, you got some work to do before you go and, hurt other people's feelings. And so point being, right, we would have needed, but at that point in my life, I was like, it was like, okay, I got to work on this, which again, was another one of those things that led me like, I need to get a therapist because there's stuff like I need help. I got to unpack the stuff. Like I was functioning on the outside, everything's great and beautiful, but there's some weird stuff that I had going on. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because relationships are complicated.
Yeah. And when we try to pretend that they're not, they get even more complicated. Or if we don't trust talking to somebody about it, it becomes so much worse because then we're feeling guilty and shame and confusion all while we're experiencing just the chaos in general being with somebody, even if they're the best partner ever, even if you are super attracted to them, even if they take really good care of you in whatever way you want to be taken care of, it is always going to be confusing and chaos because you were made to have your brain, Jesse. I was made to have my brain. They were have to theirs. And we cannot, even if we want to, we can't read each other's thoughts in their brains.
Agreed. 100%.
And women are really bad on that, Jesse. And I've done it so many times. We want you to just be able to look at us and know exactly what's on our brain and just take care of us, hold us, make us feel good or whatever. Men sometimes too, you should have known I was having a bad day and you shouldn't have came and asked me that right now. You should have given me a few minutes. For women, I think me specifically, I'm like, I gave you the nonverbals. I told you earlier it was a rough day and you didn't even come and want to help. And so then I get cranky too, and I'm like, if he can't read my brain and says it's up to him to come and make amends, I'm not going to remind him.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm pretty dense. And then there's this thing that I do where if you're not going to communicate to me and you're like expecting me to read the tea leaves, I have an extra dense switch that I can turn on. Which is, I know it's
I was
not
going to say
helpful
the
at
exact
all,
opposite
but it's like,
of
yeah. It doesn't make it better, but, and I know where it comes from. You mentioned earlier, right? Trauma, right? Came up, the tone of communication in the house when I was a kid was passive aggressive. And so it's always trying to interpret what that means. Was that a compliment? Was that a stab? Like, and so my density in my head is a like self-preservation mechanism for me to like protect myself and like not get my feelings hurt on every statement, which I miss a lot. I miss so many signals. But then there's this thing I do, and I don't know what like I can't really put my finger on what triggers it, but I will get denser. It's like, oh, you don't want to be clear? I get dumber now. And that's just a spiral. It doesn't help at all. It's kind of
like a vulnerability thing, because if you do go forward, you are putting yourself on the line because it's not common for you. It's a new response for you. And so it's almost like a self-preservation by being denser means I don't have to get as involved because that would be very vulnerable. And here I go trying to help. And if she shuns me or pushes me away or I said the wrong thing, then I don't want that reaction or response either. So it's normal,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't sound normal, if that makes sense.
That's accurate because that's it. Like, okay, I'm going to play your game and then I'm going to get in trouble more. Screw it. I'm just going to be in
Yeah.
trouble. Like, I'm not even like, why expend any energy?
Yeah. Mhm.
Just be mad. You're mad
Yeah, you're
already.
right.
I'm fine. Like, I mean, over it, which is, callous, but
Mhm.
that's the way I function. Now, how fulfilling is it when you have a breakthrough with an individual or with a couple? How fulfilling is that?
So I like to make sure that it's their breakthrough and not what I want to see for them. And so when you're looking at possibly
Mm,
even a marriage therapist or a romance coach, relationship worker, you have to make sure that they're not more vested in your relationship than you are. So that
yes.
in helper people like me, I've been a helper my whole pretty much since probably the day I was born, because there was a lot of stuff in my family that I had to be involved in too, which I think most of us are to some capacity. But if you own it more as the therapist, as the coach, you almost set them up in a rough way. And I do know some coaches that really have a power control dynamic and they want you to do what they say because I know, Jesse, what's going to work for you. You answered a couple questions. I know what it's going to work for you. No. So yes, fulfilling, but it has to be fulfilling because they decided to do that self-reflection. I can give all the tools and trips. If you follow me on TikTok or my Just Jack's Advising LinkedIn page, I'm doing a tip every single day in February. I did, and that's more on love. And then in January, I did a tip every day on strengthening your relationship, both stuff you can do differently or start. You can't become a new person overnight, but you can do baby steps how to try to do
Right.
things a little different or being more aware or trying to talk different. And if you're not willing to do that, don't waste my time. Don't waste time saying,
Yes.
oh, yeah, I really want to make it better with her when you really want to go jump in bed with this person or you can't
Yeah.
wait to be solo or single or something like that. Be real. So come to me and just say, I have been in a relationship for 25 years and everybody's going to get so mad at me when I divorce and I don't want to break her heart or his heart. What do I do? I can help you through some of that process to make it a little smoother, but I'm not going to say, oh, you're right, Jesse, you definitely need to divorce her. Or, oh my, you
Just
you
go.
can't do
Yeah.
that. I don't
Right.
want you to break her heart. That's too much. So when you say kind of that rewarding, fulfilling type of thing, every human I interact with, no matter where they are, no matter it's my day job, my side business, the romance stuff, my friends, my family, I want them to succeed. I want them to be happy. We have
Right.
one life. And if you are literally miserable at home, you're miserable in your career, you're miserable in your physical body because you don't know how to get energy or you don't like yourself because you're not doing the work medically or emotionally with therapy, you're not going to enjoy this one life that we are given and you're going to self-medicate or you're going to self-harm or you're going to get to that violent level. So every interaction I have, I try to be as positive as possible. I am not Pollyanna. I know people are going to trick me and trick other people and hurt people because they're so hurting.
Yep.
But to see even a little breakthrough, even saying, wow, I have never been able to talk to my partner when they were crying because it makes me mad. But now I go up and I just hug them and say, when you're done crying, I'm here for you. That's a huge breakthrough right there. So it doesn't mean that they
Right.
have to stick together. It doesn't mean they have to start having, the best bedroom time ever, but it means whatever works for them. They feel that there's some kind of growth. And I can't say, you're going to meet with me twice and this is going to happen. You're going to meet with me after 10 minutes and boom, you're going to be a different person. No, it's going to be different for everybody. And we can start very small and have significant progress in our relationship.
Yeah. 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 100%. So again, another flashback you're having. I have a thing about touch that I was not aware of
Sweet.
until there were 2 points. There was one, I was on a bachata dance
Yay.
team, like it's a Latin
I
dance.
love that.
And the choreography, at one point in the choreography, the lady would rub their hand on the face of the guy.
Okay.
Right. And so when we're working through that, my partner, she would go to do that and I would flinch and I would pull away. I didn't even know it. And we would watch the video and they're like, Jess, why you're screwing it up? Like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what are y'all
You
talking
had
about?
no
Like,
idea.
you flinch. I was like, no, I don't. I had no idea. We watched the replay. I'm like, damn. And it was like, pronounced. And it took me a lot of work for me not to flinch in that moment. That was the first time. And this was, maybe 10 years ago. when I became aware of like, oh, there's something
Yes.
there. Fast forward, this was maybe 5 years ago, a friend of mine, and this is all to the point of like small things can make a big difference. She pointed out, she's like, Jesse, a friend that I totally, she's the first woman that I had a friendly, non-sexual relationship with,
Nice.
which was a big thing like for me
Okay.
when we connected way back when. And she's another amazing woman, but we never crossed that
Okay.
line. And so she's very special to me because
Yeah.
it's like a growth thing for me, right? Anyways, and she's amazing. She pointed, she's like, Jess, when we hug, you never hug with both hands, like the arm, like
Yeah.
this hard. And she's like, I know you trust me, and I know how we've cried
Mhm.
together and blah blah blah. So all the things, you're extremely vulnerable with her. She's like, I don't understand why you can't hug me that way. And she's, but sometimes you do. And she's like, but you're not. It still doesn't feel right. It feels off. And I'm like, oh, I know
You can
when I
tell.
do both hands. Well, because I lock my fingers together.
Ooh.
2026 is right around the corner, and I want to help you make this year the year you finally put yourself first. How? With the Self First Framework. There's a full half-day webinar that's going to give you the tools and the tactics to plan effectively, to finally make room for yourself in your schedule, and to execute daily so that you can dominate the day. I know 4 hours is a big commitment, so maybe you want a little more intel before you like go all in. And that's perfect because I got a sweet little webinar that you're invited to. There's a link down there in the show notes. Pick the date that works best for you. Sign up for the webinar and let's do the damn thing.
Interesting.
And she's like, why do you do that? I was like, because it's less energy than trying to hold my hands up independently. And she's like, man, you're a freaking robot. I was like, yeah, I know. And she says, well, Jess, I am and beautiful, right? She said, I'm going to ask you from now on, when you hug me, I want to feel the palm
Oh,
of your hands on my back.
that is.
And I said, I could do that. And like, it was mechanical for me, like, because to me, it's a hug, but I could feel the depth and the connection and and it was just a little tweak that I've made since then to like, okay, make sure your palms touch the back, right? Because that's a better hug. And it made a big difference for me. And it gotten me comfortable with the touch thing and whatever. All that to say.
I love your
what's
growth.
that?
That's huge.
Yeah. But little things, right? It's just little things can transform our relationships. And I want to applaud you for saying, look, it's not about what I want for them. It's about their awakenings. It's about their experience of growth. Because it's very easy, even in just, the type of coaching I do, to get hyper focused on an outcome and distract from helping the person build capabilities and learn and grow. That's the goal all the time, whether they have the big giant 6-figure outcome or not is irrelevant, but it takes a discipline to like suppress my agenda and focus on the person. So good on you for being able to do that, because relationships, like romantic relationships, are just.
But I'm not climate with my clients. And so they had to understand it is on them. I can tell you what works for me, but it may not work for you or your partner. So we have to be vulnerable together, and we have to be open to exploring new things, because, when you talked about the touch, Jesse, it really hit me because I do this thing called friend zoning, which is not a nice thing, but you only get a couple chances with me. And if I don't care how handsome you are, I don't care if you do all the right things. If you fall into my friend zone category, you're not coming out. It is not going to happen. I don't want you to come up and hug me a certain way that maybe you did in the past, or the way I want somebody else that I'm not friend zoned with. And I do hate that term friend zone, by the way, but it's the only way I can describe this. I have been told by hundreds of people, both men and women, that I give some of the best hugs ever. And it's an energy thing for me. But if I don't trust you, if I'm friend zoning you, if I feel like you're shady or we don't have that connection, you are going to get this kind of little side bump hug and I'm going to be pulling away. And people don't always read that.
Yeah.
I'm like, could you leave me alone? This is not your body to touch. And if we get that way with our partners and their touch literally irritates us and we're not able to communicate with that, it's not going to get better on its own. So if you were to come to me and talk about
Yes.
that touch thing, we would start very small with that. If you really do not want your partner to touch you physically or the sexual parts of you, when was the last time you guys held hands? People don't want to
Mm-hmm.
ever hold somebody's hands. Some people are against rubbing feet. Other people
Yeah.
are wanting to lick the feet. Where can you go? Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Oh, I'm sorry. Where can you go that's a happy medium where you can try some different touch
Yeah.
that you both enjoy or that you're both willing to try to experience without you forcing it and them hating it or them not feeling anything good that tingles and makes them happy and they're just doing it because they're your spouse. Now I'm going to go here a minute. A lot of people think women's bodies are not meant to enjoy sex, especially as they age. No, it means that you are not stimulating us or you are driving me crazy or I have friend zoned you or I do not get the touch and the mental stimulation at the same time that I expected out of you or that you used to give me or that I feel that my body needs at this point in time in life, especially when you have a career and you have kids or you have these kind of responsibilities. If
Yeah.
you're super stressed because of money or because of this, intimacy is going to change in your relationship. But it does not just one day be wonderful and then it's gone the rest of the day, unless there's a physical or mental cognitive change in that person's body. There are things that change for that. Now, menopause is different. Sometimes your body literally doesn't even know who
Yeah.
you are and it wants to fight you. But there's ways to be intimate that may not be the same, but could be just as rewarding or maybe even better, but you have to be willing to
Right.
experience and explore. But I get these men that'll tell me, yeah, we haven't had sex in 3 years. I don't think I'm ever getting it again. I think she wants me to have somebody on the side. Have you really talked to her about that? Because I don't think
Well, have you?
sure a polygamy type of relationship, then please go take her on tonight and let me sleep type of a thing. Whole different mindset. But if you guys went into your relationship, we are the only people forever. And you are not satisfied because you just think she doesn't want to give it to you anymore. Y'all are way past the talking point. We need to go baby steps and start working on what to that point.
Yeah.
And so I want to challenge anybody that's listening to not just blame your partner, not just blame yourself, but say, I want to learn something new and I want to try or I want to figure out what is best for me and best for my partner, whether or not they want it or not. You can't change your partner. You can't say, honey, I'm going to go to a romance coach
Right.
and I'm going to be better. You're going to love me and want me to touch you again, right? No, but you may learn different opportunities that might make it easier for them to start feeling like maybe I kind of am looking to him. Or maybe if you guys both come together as a couple, just because you both heard the same things, you did the same maybe exercise with me or something, does not mean you're both going to enjoy it or grow at the same time or want to ever do it again. And that's okay. But it's the way you
Right.
communicate about that. And it's like, oh, I was so excited to try that and you hated it. Yeah, but you know what? If you could have done it this way, maybe I would have liked it. Or if we would have had the dishes all washed before we started touching, then I wouldn't have thought about how I got to get up and do the dishes after this or before the kids get up in the morning because the dishes are always done. We got to think about that stuff before we just focus on just that intimate time. What else happens the longer you're in a relationship, the older you get? It's not just that our bodies change.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I mean, that's reality, right? Like there's so many things that each individual has bouncing around in their head that could be the block. And then because we don't talk about it, we just let years of baggage build and build and build and build.
Yes.
And we think like, well, we just need to go somewhere else. It's like you're going to have the same outcome eventually, because the problem is getting clear and rather going to the conflict and clearing out the clutter so that you can stay connected or so that you can get clear that we do need to separate instead of just letting it build up and hide behind all of those things.
And then let's take it to another level. So say you're having all these issues and you're just not where you want to be with your partner. and you go to the bar every Friday night with your buddies and you bitch about your partner. And then they're complaining about theirs. And then you start thinking all women suck and you're stuck here and you should be treated better in this and this. Or you're a woman, you go out with your sister and all you do is complain about your partner. He wants to do this. He tells me I don't do this. He compares me to this person. Then you're hearing that person say, yeah, I never really liked how he did that to you too. Then you're getting extra people's area in your brain that gives you almost double reason not to want to be intimate or love that partner or work on your relationship. Why don't you come to somebody that's not going to judge you, that is not vested in your relationship? That's like I said, it's not you're not with
your bias,
you know? And so how can we have you focus on not complaining about your partner, working it out, or talking directly with your partner, or talking with somebody like a coach or a therapist that isn't going to slam them in a way that pushes you guys even further apart?
Yeah, 100%. Again, I mentioned I've had several therapists in my life. The last therapist I had was by choice. And when we started working together, she's like, okay, what do you want? Like, why are we doing this? I said, good. I said, here's the deal. It's very clear. And it was this specific. I said, look, I am content, fulfilled. I love my life. I have no yearning, hunger, appetite, want to be in a relationship. I don't, but everybody I talk to is like, oh, what's wrong with you? It's okay. And I'm like, is something wrong with me? Am I a bad guy for not wanting to be in a relationship? And she's like, oh, see, that's pretty clear. I said, that's what we got. And so there, of course, I was massive workaholic. I still am, just healthier than I used to be. We made a lot of progress in a lot of ways in terms of me taking better care of myself. And the conclusion, like, I couldn't talk to a friend because when I did, they would say like, wow, it's just, dating today sucks, or, what's wrong with you? And you blah, blah, like there was a biased perspective all the time. Getting my therapist was very objective perspective. And we did a lot of work and a lot of different things, practices and whatever to kind of sort through it. And in the end, she's like, Jess, these were not her exact words. It was what I remember. She's like, look, you're not a bad guy. If you were out there, I remember she said this, if you were out there diddling around and saying you don't want to be in a relationship, then I would say that's not okay. But you're not. You're like hyper focused on your things, on your objectives, your goals, and all the things. And you've been in relationships. So maybe you're in a season of your life and you just need to give yourself permission to not feel bad about it. And I remember when she said, I was like, I just felt all the weight come off, like, oh my God, it's
you were listening to every other pressure, the society pressure, your friends, maybe family. That's the thing is like, some of us are in places we want to be in a relationship, and that is great. But we're going to find people that are out to play us. And all I want, if I'm looking for a relationship, I just want your honesty. Tell me you want a call. Tell me you want a companionship. I don't even want to be intimate with you, but I do want somebody to occasionally go to a ball game with or out to dinner or something. That's okay as long as you're honest. And that's one of the things that bothers me the most about dating apps, because I've met some great humans through dating apps, some that I spent time with in person, some that I will never talk to again, some that I only talk to through the phone, texting, I never got to the level. But it's so easy to lie and think it's okay because you're not necessarily the real person on a dating app. Don't do that, because there are other people that are going to believe you, and that is going to put them 10 steps behind, because you're going to either confuse them, break their heart, or they're going to think that they are such a bad judge of character. They're never going to have the person. So that is when I do a little bit of shaming. I don't usually judge people, but if you are intentionally lying to somebody, now it's okay to say, oh, you're beautiful. I would love to go out to dinner with you. I don't even know if I want a relationship or if we will ever see each other again, but how about we meet and just see what's there? Oh my gosh, yes, please. Because I feel the same. I don't know if I'm a person, but why don't we do dinner? Why don't we go for a walk at the beach? Why don't we, just do something to see in person if it's different? Because you can get instant chemistry off of a social text. You can get
Totally.
all these releases of all your endorphins, and it just feels like, because what did I say? Humans want to be wanted. And you get somebody, you are the
Yep.
most handsome guy I've seen in forever. Oh my gosh, you actually listen to me. Oh my gosh, you like going for finding waterfalls too? I do too. You want to go to Thailand? Oh my gosh. It just spurs all this stuff. And we're like, and then all of a sudden they do ghost you, or you become intimate
Yeah.
and vulnerable and you think you've got a future with this person. And then they're like, I never told you I wanted a relationship. Well, yeah, you did. They'll be like, delete that dating app. I'm never doing it again. I'm never talking to men or women or whatever. You are a grown-ass human. You don't deserve to live with other humans. And that says so much about that other person. And that's what I really try to get across when people have been shafted, or they've been out of the dating space a while and they never really thought they would date again, or they think they're too old to date, which you're never too old to date. Never.
Right.
But when they start feeling that way and they feel like it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen unless you put yourself out there. There are a lot of things I do with people that are interested in dating, or they've been in dating and stuff, to do it a little bit safer. There's a few things that you can do to try to make sure that they are a little bit more real. You can't predict if somebody's going to lie to you, but I always say when you're dating, even if those endorphins are 5,000,000% and you're just sparkling everywhere, don't believe everything right away and just assume to date for a while. Even if they're like, hey, maybe I'll move in with you, or, oh, could you move here if you're doing a long distance thing? Give yourself some time, because even if you are an older human, you got time. You got time.
Yes. We got way more time than we know. For sure. Oh my goodness. This has been amazing conversation. So I'm going to shift gears. You know, I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation the anthology thing, and you mentioned your activity on LinkedIn, and that's where you and I originally connected. So I don't know what an anthology means, except that I was invited to contribute to this thing, and I think you've been on a couple of them. You've done 4. Okay, so what the hell's an anthology?
An anthology is a group of people writing about the same type of topic. But your chapter is your life, my chapter is my life, but there's one main theme. So the first book I wrote in was on my divorce. So there was a couple other authors that all wrote about their divorce experience. I never read one of the other authors. I never even read my story after I sent it into the publisher. So I don't even know what the heck's out there. Second one, it was about moving beyond limitations. And I talked about a victimization I had and how I had to grow through that. And then the third one was the one we were in together that was all about how we show up on social media, but we're really awesome humans to begin with, type of a thing. There's a much fancier name for the book, and I love that we're in there together, but it's something that was, very cool. And then I did a legacy book, and a legacy is just kind of, what if your life does end tomorrow? What do you want people to remember you by? And so that story would be different if I wrote it today. It'll be different in 5 years, but it's just something I wrote out there. I've wanted to be an author since I was a kiddo, but putting yourself out there, Jesse, sharing your story, whether you do it like this on your podcast, you came to my podcast, doing it in a book, it helps so many other people, because we keep so much private because we think we're the only one that's experienced that. We're the only one. And we limit the other people's growth by holding our crap in. And again, that is to be angry people. And then we take it out on our partner, and then we bring it to the workforce. And then there's a war and violence and all the crap. We deserve to be happy and healthy and say, man, that stuff sucked in my life, but look at me now. I am happy. I've lived through the crap that I have personally done to myself or others, and people have done to myself, because we are never limited to the worst decision we've ever made. And some people will judge you. They'll be like, oh, she divorced, or he cheated, or they lied, or they did a criminal decision, or they went to jail. That is not who you have to be the rest of your life. Even if other people are going to judge you and they're not going to trust you, they're not meant to be your people.
Right. 100%. I have another book that I wrote. It's based on my life experience. And it was, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I know some of the regular L&M family members know this. I've wrestled with addiction most of my life. And coming up in June, I'll be celebrating 10 years of sobriety.
Let's do a phone call to celebrate. I'm so proud of you.
So cool. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this time, this 10 years, I've attempted sobriety before multiple times. And, for a bunch of different, all of it's in the book, right? Different reasons I started drinking and using and manipulating, doing all that stuff again. But the awakening that happened for me this time was when I realized that all of that stuff, the garbage, the dark, wicked things that I didn't have to stay in the form of shame. I could transform them and make them valuable for other people. And when I had that, but again, this was a state mandated therapist that helped me have that awakening. I was like, oh shit.
That's it.
Man, I got a lot of garbage that I could help, like hard, ugly stuff that I can help people with. And it totally, if we were to plot my trajectory in terms of contribution into the world and even like our annual income, from that point, it was a hard line to the right, up and to the right.
So you didn't just help others, you helped yourself.
It's this perpetual thing, right? Like if I continue, I mean, we say it a lot in like 12-step rooms, you got to give it away to keep it. And so it's one of those things that I got to continue to share and be prepared and willing to share the dark, stinky stuff, but in a way that we're not commiserating. We're not accomplices all swimming. What a friend of mine calls it, the trauma Olympics. We're actually converting that darkness into value to help other people out of, or more importantly, help them know that they're not alone, that they're not the only one. So similar to what you're doing, it was a huge deal. You and I did a live stream, super high energy. Here we are doing this conversation, super high energy. I love that you're willing to go and have like the hard. I'm going to say, for me, the relationship thing is not necessarily, or the relationship conversations is not necessarily hard. It's messy. For me, like in my head, it's just messy. And so it's easier to not talk about, because who hasn't screwed up in a relationship, right?
And when we get in new relationships, we do have that honeymoon phase, and we want to talk about all the good stuff. And we love the way our bodies and brains are responding to all the lovey-dovey stuff. We don't say, hey, baby, I might totally go back to my old ways here in a couple of weeks. So can we talk about it? But we should.
Oh,
why can't
100%.
we? If you are going to be intimate and let somebody touch all over your body, why can't you use words with that person?
Yes. yes. Oh my God. So we're going to have to clip that for sure. Okay. So are you ready for the Grand Slam closing question? That. All right. And I'm excited about it. One, because your energy, I think you and I, it's this instant connection in terms of us like bouncing back and forth and playing off of it and building up like the intensity, because this has been a really intense conversation. And you have, like I said at the beginning, you have a compassion and empathy for the human experience. And so because of all of that, I'm excited to hear what your answer is.
Okay.
Here's the question. What is the promise you are intended to be?
I've never heard that question asked to me. I feel strongly that my purpose is to make the world a happier, healthier, safer place. I used to have very wild expectations that I would see world peace in my lifetime and all the things. Now I care about one at a time. And the promise is my life is never written in the stones. It's going to change. It's going to adapt. I might not be fully functioning someday. What can I do while I'm here, visibly able to speak and move and do the things? How can I have the best intention and make the best mark on this world so nobody will ever say that I did something to harm other humans?
Oh, damn, gangsta. So there's going to be peace on your earth, on your world, and you're doing it every single day. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I knew it. I knew it was going to be powerful.
That was intense.
Did you have fun with?
Just coming up with that was intense.
Good. Well, you've been super gracious with your time and your energy. I'm going to behave and not monopolize all of it just for me, because the world needs it. I am really, not just motivated and inspired, but maybe a little bit in awe of how much of yourself you share. Because I've been able to see you on your live streams and even in this conversation, You don't hold back. And I think it's a beautiful example for other people to work towards if they're not already there, because I know how freeing that can be. And we all have something special, weird thing, interest in us that if we just took the risk like you did, we could have dramatic impact in the lives around us. And so I applaud you for doing that, Miss Jackie.
I appreciate you. And I just want to leave your guests with understanding that no matter where they are in their world, first of all, they have survived every bad thing that has came their way. And second of all, you never know what the next minute of the day is going to bring you. Don't live in that ick, because it can be so much better. And some people might not want to pay for therapy or coaching, or don't think it's worth the value. How much you spending in beer over a month? Because you're trying to research. How much you doing even caffeine because you can't sleep, because you're stressed out all the time. So you got to add 17 cups of coffee in the morning and you got to get all the fancy ones. How much you putting into that? How much do you value yourself to literally help yourself in your relationships? Now, I am not just working with people that are in marriage or already dating or having issues with who they're dating. It could be just to self-reflect and start loving yourself again, not in a therapeutic way, but in a way so that you have value for yourself. So when you're ready to give that to somebody else, we can start opening those doors a lot easier. So don't feel weird. Don't feel like, oh, I'm a man, I can't talk about that. Most of my people are men again, guys. And it is something that I wish if the guys in my life, whether they're friends or family or anything like that, knew that there were safe people to go to like me, that you're not going to be judged, that you can talk about emotions without feeling like, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm not manly or something. No, it's not like that. And for the women there, if you are finding the same kind of relationship patterns over and over, it's time to break that cycle, honey. It's time to break it. And I can help you with that too. So reach out to me. Jessie has all my contact information. I love to talk through LinkedIn. I do a show every single Monday night at 9 p.m. that I do not talk about relationships and stuff. It's about other stuff. Like I was hyping Jessie the other day. Those are the things that you build connections on. And when we build relationships, we realize how important it is to take care of ourselves and then our person. And then you change the world too.
Oh, I love it. And yes, we will absolutely put all the links in the show notes so people can get in contact with you. And you better get in contact with her because Jackie's awesome. The live stream, was it
Just Jackson Guests?
Just Jackson Guests. And I hacked in a guest, so I got to maybe, I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe that'll scare people out. Like if you let Jessie on there. Anyway.
No, you were amazing.
It was good.
We could have talked for hours. Just like you. So we need to wrap it up because you got stuff to do too. But I want to thank you for being willing to bring this topic that isn't always the topic people even want to talk about, let alone be on their own show, especially with the kind of consulting you do and the coaching you do and the type of clients you have. Guys, every one of us are a human being and every one of us have relationships. We need to talk about it.
100%. And that's why you nailed it, girl. Thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end. I know you got a whole lot of stuff going on. And in appreciation for the gift of time that you have given this episode, I want to offer you a free PDF of my book, Becoming the Promise You're Intended to Be. The link for that bad boy is down in the show notes. Hit it. You don't even have to give me your email address. There's a link in there. You just click that button and you can download the PDF. And if you share it with somebody that you know who might feel stuck or be caught up in self-destructive behaviors, that would be the ultimate. You sharing that increases the likelihood that it's going to help one more person. And if it does help one more person, then you're contributing to me becoming the promise I am intended to be. Be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time. Thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end. I know you got a whole lot of stuff going on. And in appreciation for the gift of time that you have given this episode, I want to offer you a free PDF of my book, Becoming the Promise You're Intended to Be. The link for that bad boy is down in the show notes. Hit it. You don't even have to give me your email address. There's a link in there. You just click that button and you can download the PDF. And if you share it with somebody that you know who might feel stuck or be caught up in self-destructive behaviors, that would be the ultimate. You sharing that increases the likelihood that it's going to help one more person. And if it does help one more person, then you're contributing to me becoming the promise I am intended to be. Be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time. Peace!